Welcome to Ultra Level Up Chips, the final challenger. Hey y'all, welcome back to Level Up Chips, the weekly gaming podcast from CM Life that talks about everything game related. That's right, folks. When we say everything, we mean everything. Those Winnie the Pooh games that you played as a kid are not safe from discussion. I'm Mike Gonzalez, and I have with me a guest speaker, Gabe Gonzalez, who happens to be my brother. So, should probably explain the whole Winnie the Pooh thing. Pretty much every time that I have an episode, I get a game that people might have played as a kid. And they'll be like, whoa, I forgot about that. Something like that. First one was like Cooking Mama. Second one was like Roller Coaster Tycoon or the SpongeBob games. And this time I started thinking about that one GameCube Winnie the Pooh game.
Yes, it was terrifying, really.
I actually just watched a speed run of it on YouTube recently. And it's the weirdest thing. I didn't realize that you had to do quick time events to fight those like monsters and stuff.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, Piglet. So pretty much, and I learned about it. I was like, holy shit, like shoot, I forgot that a lot about this game, but I never realized you could actually fight the monsters in it. I always remembered it was almost like a stealth game for me and horror. But yeah, no joke, like you have to do a bunch of quick time events. He learns them, and that's the whole game. That's really it. You just it's a collectathon to find cookies and save your friends and do quick time events to fight the monsters. That is it.
Yeah, I don't recall much of it myself. It's all like I remember collecting things, and I vaguely remember certain places. I feel like there was a dark, spooky manor or castle.
So, yeah, no, it was a castle. Yeah.
Yeah, that's that. It's all a bit of a blur, really.
Trust me, I was even smaller, so that was like I looked at it and I just knew I was terrified of the game. Every time that those monsters came around and I failed the quick time event supposedly, I remember just having you do it. Same thing as like Luigi's Mansion, but that's another story.
Well, I remember being like, to me, it seemed like I was a bit old for it. Like, it's a kid's game, but you were interested in it. And regardless of feeling like I was old for it, I remember it being also strangely difficult.
Which again, I think when I watched that speed run, I actually do remember those people actually failing a few times on the final boss because the quick time events were getting so ridiculous. It was like Street Fighter button like combos type of bad, like Marvel versus Capcom 3 type of combos.
Oof.
I don't know why they did that, but they just decided, hey, you know what? This is a Winnie the Pooh game. Kids need to learn how to do a quarter circle input.
It's all part of that quick time event frenzy back in the day.
It all started, I feel like, with Resident Evil 4. That was around the time when the quick time, no, Shenmue was the first time, and then it just grew into that ridiculous Bayonetta type of quick time event.
Bayonetta was, I mean, I didn't play it during that era, but it is definitely of that era, and it is the most mean with them because you're watching a cutscene and you think everything's okay, and then it throws that QuickTime event at you, or even like half a second into the cutscene, it throws the QuickTime event.
The worst part about those cutscenes, and then it goes into the QuickTime event without like warning you or anything like that. You can die from those QuickTime events so easily, and the whole game is based on, like the grading system. And pretty much as soon as you fail that QuickTime event, immediately it just marks you down a whole like grade letter or like a statue just because you didn't realize I had to press B in like 0.2 seconds.
Failing the quick time event is definitely Enzo level material.
Something that I saw way too often. And I remember thinking, that's one of the reasons why I never actually played Bayonetta 2. That's one of the main reasons, was because I couldn't stand having the Enzo statue anymore. I just knew I
Bayonetta 2
sucked.
is much more forgiving too. The other thing that it cut back on, which still bugs me a little from Bayonetta 1, is going straight from cutscene to battle. Oftentimes, Bayonetta 1 begins that transition with an attack from the enemy. And so you have to know when the cutscene ends so that you can immediately dodge as soon as you have control.
I remember those. Those were so bad. It's a great game. Like I think the story and like the environment, it was like groundbreaking.
I definitely prefer the story and the characters and the most everything. I like Bayonetta 1 more than Bayonetta 2. Bayonetta 2, however, definitely comes, in top when it comes to the actual gameplay and combat. It streamlined and fixed a lot.
Majorly. Yeah, no. Bayonetta 2 had Loki, Bayonetta 1 had not Loki, so things were better.
Yeah, Loki is that's another matter entirely.
But moving away from Bayonetta, why don't we get into the first segment of our podcast, which is pretty much like looking at the news of games. And it's kind of good that we had a little filler there, just because there's not a whole lot of news. Like the craziest stuff that we really got this week is, a bunch of updates and a lot of mods. We got an announcement for this Phoenix Wright game. It's supposed to be set in like, I want to say like Victorian London. You actually meet Sherlock Holmes, but he's not Sherlock Holmes. He's Herlock Soames or something like that. I'm not even joking about this. They literally just called him Herlock Sholmes or something like that.
All I can think of is the great dog detective Sherlock Bones or something like that.
I want to name
Sherlock
my dog
is
something like
Sherlock
that.
is, I believe, like it's uncopyrighted now. People are, am I thinking of the right thing? No, I'm thinking of Gatsby.
Oh, that explains a lot. Yeah. But okay, so that probably explains why they still got to keep the whole Herlock Sholmes case. It's really stupid, but honestly, from what I've seen, he's kind of like a himbo, just kind of that like Kronk level of just like, he's stupid, but he's looking pretty nice.
That sounds more like Lockhart to me. He's taking credit for everything, but he doesn't actually do it.
Yeah, what am I didn't even think about that. Lockhart. Yeah, you're right. All right. Herlock Sholmes is Gilderoy Lockhart. Don't want to think
It's
about
a
that.
past life.
So the other thing that we got this week, which was completely unexpected, was a Super Mario Party update. Which I'm still a little bit weirded out by it, because it's been about 2.5 years since Super Mario Party came out. They had 0 updates previously, and now all of a sudden, 2.5 years later, they decided, hey, it needs online play features. And, I don't get it. I don't know what Nintendo's doing, because that same day they dropped a Miitopia demo. I'm trying to think. They had something else. I feel like it's some Pokemon Snap thing, because everything's Pokemon Snap at Nintendo. But Anyway, I guess I'm really excited for this update because Gabe over here, well, he's not over here, he's actually in Japan, um, which is one of the reasons why he's a special guest at the moment. But honestly, I know Grace when our sister, when I told her that we're able to do Mario Party online, I remember her like face beamed up. She was actually looking forward to that. She always wants game night, so this is actually a pretty good update.
Yeah, I am looking forward to trying it out. I have heard that there are some aspects to it that are a little bit strange.
I've heard
Just
them
the way
too.
that you get into it. Given our distance, I am a little concerned with how the connection will fare and how much lag there will be. I'm hoping it'll be okay, but we will see.
Honestly, I mean, I feel like we've gotten, what was it, 51 Clubhouse games, and even Smash Bros worked for the most part as soon as you got the better internet connection.
Yes.
So I feel like in general, I think this is going to work out a lot more than I really think you're thinking. But again, it's given how unorthodox the like methods are for getting into online play. Yeah, I have no idea what this is going to look like.
At the very least, given that it's Mario Party, it's not typically, if it's a little bit laggy, it's usually not a big deal. If anything, that just adds to the chaos of some of the mini games.
Actually, yeah, the more I think about it, that's like it's much better than Smash Bros, something like that. A lot of those games.
No one's playing competitive Mario Party.
Yeah,
The
especially
next esport.
I think I actually just watched a video about how like most of the Mario Party games, those dice rolls, they're actually not like randomly generated type of dice. They're like
what?
They're in a way like, especially with the first Mario Party, as soon as like it's your turn and you have the dice or like you win a game or something like that, it immediately knows what move or what like dice roll you're gonna get. There's some sort of system that they had where it wasn't really random. It was just sort of like planned. Once you're in this area, once you're in that area, you get this many rolls or you get this many moves.
What you're saying is the last game I played in which I got consistently nothing higher than a 4, and this is old Mario Party when it went up to 10, you're saying that I can blame the game for real?
I can't say anything else before 10. I feel like it was the N64 games that was like that. I'd have to watch the video again, but I do know that Super Mario Party could be competitive because you could technically look at the dice and like actually try to make the right, hit. But it's like 6 rolls or something like that per second, or like there's like a whole crazy number to it where I was like, yeah, there's no way you're going to be able to just say, oh yeah, I hit it now. What am I saying? People are
Life
able
will
to
find a way.
Yeah, I know speedrunners, they're way too crazy for that stuff. So moving along from that, there's one game that I have been trying to say that I am like kind of broken with. There is a mod for Portal 2 for its 10th anniversary, and it is called Portal Reloaded. And pretty much you get 3 portals. You get the regular blue, you get the regular orange portals, you go through them, but you also have a green portal that takes you 20 years in the future. So you have to worry about the 4th dimension when you're playing this. And I just gotta say, there have been way too many puzzles where I was like, okay, how does this work? Because as soon as you move a cube in like the present, immediately the future cube gets erased because it doesn't make sense for that future cube to have moved or like be in a certain area. So all of a sudden it's like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's really, really weird. Yeah. So I'm just trying to think about it. It's really neat because you could put like the future cube in there, but as soon as you try moving like the present cube into the future, it immediately says, "Nuh-uh, that doesn't work," and the cube gets disintegrated. And wait a minute. Oh, God, now I'm really confused because I just started thinking about it. If you got because you're in the present, your character's in the present. If you go into the future, wouldn't that just make you get disintegrated?
I haven't played this yet. So let me refresh. When you can take the future cube into the past, right?
Yes.
Wouldn't that make it so that there's 2 cubes in the future now?
No, because
No.
that future cube is only there for as long as it is, but at some point it gets moved.
By who?
By you in the future.
I haven't played this and I'm already confused, so I can only imagine what the real game is like.
It's painful. Especially because I've had a few times where I had like the cube, like the future cube, like doing stuff, and I accidentally nudged the present cube, and immediately both of them, or not both of them, the future cube that I'm holding right there, it's gone. I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me? And I'm like, I have to go into the future, I have to get the cube again, I have to do all that stuff. It's really fun, but there have been way too many times where this is like with Portal 2, I was able to go through it in one day with my brother. When we first got it, like one day, we just finished it. This game, I actually have to look it up because I don't understand some of them. So take that as you will. That's as much news that we have at the moment. But I think the next thing that we should be talking about is you, Gabe. You are in
Me.
Japan. You are in Japan.
This is accurate.
Very. So, pretty much he is in Japan and he also likes video games. So I thought this is a recipe for, I don't know, a good episode, some good content. So far, we've just talked about QuickTime events, Winnie the Pooh, and the 4-dimension breaking stuff of Portal Reloaded.
The important things in life.
Important things. But I think what I really wanted to ask is there a lot of differences between like game culture in Japan that you've seen in comparison to video game culture in like the US?
No, I haven't been here terribly long, so it's hard to say exactly. But from what I have seen, I think there is maybe a little bit more emphasis on things like accessories, things that you can add to your game systems. I mean, even just like one of the stores that I've been into has, for the Switch alone, like 2 rows just dedicated to accessories, and there's all sorts of different things. From cases to controllers to like Bluetooth audio connections, so you can actually use your Switch with your Bluetooth headphones. And compared to what you usually see in the US, I mean, even, you go to a GameStop, a typical GameStop, and there aren't as many accessories as I've seen in this just, random electronics store.
No, if anything, I feel like I'm trying to remember the last time I visited a GameStop. I think I maybe saw 3 cases. I don't even think they really had like a lot of Joy-Cons. They had a lot of amiibos, a lot of Terrys and Banjos and Kazooies, but other than that, it was mostly just the games and that's it.
Yeah, here there's a lot more. There's definitely in those, rows with accessories and everything, there were quite a few amiibo. It was not necessarily like a wide variety of amiibo, but there was definitely quite a few there and lots of each amiibo that they carried. And I know even just recently seeing things with like the release of Monster Hunter is huge out here. And there have been some special accessories that I saw released just for it. I believe it was a Palico themed case, Switch case, along with a game card case inside. That looked really cool. Unfortunately, I need neither right now, so I didn't get it, though it's probably still there. They had quite a few.
Did it have the Dango?
No, you just buy that here regular.
Not what I meant, but I was thinking the Palico. Like, did it have the Dango like thing on the Palico stuff?
No, I don't think so.
Man. All right, forget it. I don't want the case. If it doesn't have that, then I don't want it. But yeah, I was about to say, over in the US, it's not as big. I feel like Monster Hunter is getting bigger though, because when I was over at GameStop, usually they have a lot of the larger games advertised on the walls. They have a lot of like promotional posters, stuff like that. And I was lucky enough to call dibs on this huge poster. And they had all sorts of like smaller ones. I just realized this is going to be audio only. So I have a poster.
You could describe it. It's got it's kind of like the cover art, right? It's got Magnum Malo on it.
It's got the Magnum Malo on it. It's got the Palamute, and it has the hunter that's like about to slash the not the Palamute, the Magnum Malo. I'd be
not
really
the Palamute. Upset. Please don't slash the Palamute.
Please do not. This is a cry out to all my listeners, all 10 of you. But yeah, do not slash the Palamute. But otherwise, it's gotten a lot larger here, Monster Hunter Rise, and I think that's a really cool thing, but I do not think that it'll ever get to the extent that Japan has. It's honestly a little bit wild that it's gotten as huge as it has, just because the series came out in, I think it was 2005. I feel like maybe earlier, but still it was
in a sense, it's not a very old game.
No, it isn't. And that's the thing that's like kind of crazy to me. 2004, that was the first release, 2004. And a lot of the games that are like huge in Japan are like Pokemon and Dragon Quest and like Final Fantasy, which are games that came out in the 90s, 80s. So it's always been kind of a shock that Monster Hunter has gotten very close to the same levels as all those, you know, contenders right there.
I think a lot of it has to do with the formula, grinding, collecting, and just the monsters themselves and the appealing designs that so many of them have, and the incredible armor that you get from each one too.
Majorly, yeah. And I know that, if I'm not mistaken, in Japan, the reason why it got huge in the first place over there is the fact that it was an online based game for the PS2. You know, you could play it single player, but the fact that you could cooperatively fight a monster with three of your, you know, three of your friends, and you could just, you know, plan out, strategize, stuff like that with those monsters and take it out together. That was huge. You know, that was like one of the first major like online games like that. You know, and as the series went on, it got even cooler, because I think I've seen some of the armor for the first game, and boy, it's cool, but it's very basic. It's nothing like what Monster Hunter Rise or World would have gotten.
Yeah, well, back then I guess you had nothing to compare it to, though.
This is true, honestly. Um I've had, honestly, I've been looking at a lot of comparisons for the first game, and it makes me so happy that developers are able to make hitboxes better, because we have to watch a few videos. It's insane. There are so many points in the first game where you would be, I kid you not, like 50 feet, maybe 30 feet away from a Rathalos, and once it charges at you, for some reason, the air will just kill you. You would faint so easy in that game, apparently.
Yeah, they've even though it's not the longest lived game, it's come a long way. I think it really hit its stride too when whenever it's portable, whether that's the PSP, the 3DS, or now the Switch. I think it is just, you know, that multiplayer, and especially being able to do the multiplayer within the same room, talking to each other, communicating, that it really comes together.
Yeah, no, exactly. And again, I feel like Monster Hunter Rise specifically, it has been fantastic because the internet, like some of the rooms that you can get into, the server rooms, super easy to get into with friends. And the best part is no voice chat and no trolling, really. There is no way for people to really troll in these games other than just not doing a thing. That is the most they could ever do in a hunt, is just not touch the monster.
I've played quite a bit, and I've only seen that once, so it's not even a widespread, you know, phenomenon or anything. People are genuinely willing to get up there and fight the monster.
Yeah, no, and especially with, because it's a newer game, there are a lot of people who are getting into it, and they need as much help as they can get. So anytime that you're like in a, let's say, rampage or something like that, you know, the horde mode, and you need people, there is more than likely people who are in the same boat that just want to get this done so they can get into the single player stuff with their friends.
Oh yeah.
That's
And Monster
us.
Hunter, one thing that I don't think has changed is it can be very intimidating for people just joining. I think Monster Hunter World probably wasn't quite so bad with tutorials and introducing things. Rise, for all of its strengths, for all the good things it has, even as a longtime player myself, going into it and being bombarded by tutorial screens, it's just not enjoyable. You know, I've played for a long time, but I'm always afraid, you know, I want to read them in case there's something new or something I missed. And it's so much.
And none of it's interesting too. There is nothing about it that, like you said, I've played the game. I played Monster Hunter World, so I know how a lot of things work in the game. But even though, I know this, it's news. So immediately I'm like, crap, I feel like there is going to be something I need to know that I'm going to miss, that they might have changed or something like that. And since I know all that stuff, immediately I'm so bored out of my mind just reading the tutorials, the list of them, and nothing has changed. I just read a bunch of tutorials I already know. So it's probably the weakest part of the entire game is just that beginning, because I remember reading it. I was like, oh man, do I even want to play this? I'm getting a little bit tired. This is already a little bit cumbersome.
Yeah, you load the game and they give you homework.
Yeah, that's how it has been for a lot of games recently for me. Like, I think I told you, but I am starting to work on some tabletop stuff with the Cyberpunk Red game. And I've read everything, but the rules for like D&D tabletop type of stuff, it's still kind of not making sense when it comes to battles, because it changes compared to D&D. For D&D, it's an easy like roll with this dice, roll with that dice. For some reason, they do not tell you which dice to roll. So I've been kind of struggling with that stuff. And I mean, I still got to make a story, so I have like a full sheet of stuff. I have about like 3, almost 4 pages now. So it's getting pretty interesting. They're all bullet points, but anyway, besides that, looking at a lot of those games that we've played, a lot of the times we want to get into like the origin of these games, the beginning, and that goes into retro gaming, which from what Gabe and I have discussed before, it's a lot different in Japan in comparison to the US and even UK. So why don't you talk about a little bit about the retro games that you've been able to get, and some of the games that you might have been shocked were like a little bit more cheaper?
I don't think it would be an exaggeration to say that everything is cheaper. Here in Japan, they don't have stores like GameStop that are specific to video games. Right? They probably do. At least I just haven't encountered any. They're not regional or nationwide franchises the same way that GameStop is. The best place I've found for retro games is just secondhand stores. They've got clothes, they've got furniture, and they've got a ton of video games too. It's just things that people donate, things that people sell. And the prices are rock bottom, even for old classics on, well, here, I guess the Famicom, Mother, Chrono Trigger, Mario RPG, all of those games. I don't think I really saw anything over what would be the equivalent of $10. I myself purchased a 3DS for, I think, roughly like $27 in good condition.
Oh my gosh.
And I got Pokemon Diamond and Pokemon Black to re-experience those. Altogether, I didn't spend over $50.
Wow. Yeah. Let me just really quickly go on GameStop really quickly and look up how much Pokemon Diamond is. Pokemon Diamond is $70 right now.
So I would already be, it's already, everything was cheaper than that.
It's cheaper than a 3DS over there.
Yes.
Wow.
Although with Pokemon Diamond specifically, I wouldn't be surprised if the price went up. People are more interested because of the remake coming up. I know that's partly the reason why I was interested.
Well, I looked at Soul Silver and that is also $70. I'm not even sure. No, it's not even available on GameStop. So if we looked at eBay, because that would probably be the next best place to look for that stuff, Pokemon Soul Silver. Mostly because we saw that one Nintendo Life video about this.
I will say Pokemon Soul Silver and Heart Gold are probably some of the more difficult ones to find, even out here. And they are accordingly a little bit more expensive. But even so, you're looking at paying $30 as opposed to 70, or what have you found?
I don't know what to believe in because some of these DS cartridges look a little too good to be true. Some of them are ranging between $14 to $17, which I don't buy because from what I've heard and from what I've seen on like even Etsy, it is shockingly easy to make the DS cartridges.
Yeah, a lot of I know Game Boy Advance games especially, but I wouldn't be surprised DS as well. Typically, if you find something that's suspiciously cheap, it's fake.
The ones that say Pokemon Soul Silver authentic Nintendo DS cartridge only tested. Uh long title, but for the bid, it is $120. And to buy it now, it would be $170 plus $75 for shipping and handling. Other ones are like 140, 95, 220, 215. Yeah, no, Soul Silver, that is in the 200s range. Now let's see, like you said, with Pokemon Diamond, that's got to be really high up. Yet, surprisingly, it is only about 50, 60 bucks. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but that's not that bad.
Soul
And
Silver and Heart Gold, I think, definitely have the, I guess, the popularity. They're a remake, and yet they are, I think, probably the most popular DS Pokemon game.
it's one that when I sold it, I still think about it. It keeps me up at night sometimes because I regret it. Every single time I think about it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to play that because it is easily like one of the best remasters, remakes, whatever you want to call it. It's fantastic. It's phenomenal. And the fact that it is kept to the Nintendo DS and only the Nintendo DS, there's no virtual console for it. There's emulation, but you don't get, the DS aspect. I mean, it's sad. It's really sad to think that that's just, kept there forever. And I think that's why it's getting more expensive. And I wouldn't be surprised why Pokemon Diamond is cheaper. You may think that it would be going up in price, but the more I think about it, it's going to go down in price because people may not want to buy the original game if the remake is coming around.
This is true. I think that a remake always does produce a lot of interest in the original as well, though, especially given how, I guess, controversial the art style for the Diamond and Pearl remake is. I personally don't see any problem with it. To me, it looks like, well, it looks like the original game, just, in 3D. But I know a lot of people don't care for that.
which I always found kind of crazy because especially with like the battles, they look everything about it is a 1-to-1 remake of the original. They got the tiny chibi forms and people may not like that, but if you look at like the sprites for the DS one, that's what it looks like. When you go into battle, they have the regular sized human Pokemon trainers, and that's how they look like in the original. Just 3D. There's nothing really crazy about it that's, groundbreaking or anything. It's exactly the same.
I personally think that if they went and did a more, I guess, drastic change in art style, I personally think that it would end up making the game look more bare than it actually is. Just because, the original 2D pixel art style, as a result, villages are small. There's not that many people because you can only fit so much on the screen at one time. And I suppose, maybe something like the diamond or the not diamond, Alpha Ruby. No, Ruby and Sapphire. I'll just go Ruby and Sapphire remake.
I thought it
Those
was
ones
Alpha.
changed art style. And I suppose they could do something in that vein, though I suppose, again, some people would say it's either not enough or too drastic. It's impossible to please everyone.
Especially Pokemon fans. Those mostly I say that because Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, those remakes are something that the fans have been asking for a long time, and as soon as it came around, I heard more outcry about the art style than happiness that the remake was coming around, which is wild to me. But
Pokemon Snap seems to be a common ground, though. I think I haven't seen anybody disappointed by new Pokemon Snap.
no, in fact, as much as I'm not a big fan of like Pokemon Sword and Shield, I think the biggest thing that I've seen, especially with the Switch era, is honestly a fantastic change, a fantastic amount of perspectives and approaches to Pokemon, because we do have Sword and Shield, which is a very typical way of, a Pokemon game. And then we have the remake, which is meant to be a 1-to-1 remake, which I think is awesome. Then we had the Let's Go remake, which was more on the Pokemon Go side, but I think it had a fantastic, camera angle, fantastic look, everything looked fantastic.
Honestly, that is probably aside from the Pokemon catching, I wasn't totally sold on that. I think the Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee are some of my favorite remakes for Pokemon recently. I would actually be quite happy if that's the route they had gone for Diamond and Pearl. Things seem to work pretty well with that art style.
The most I would ever want is for them to just change the catching mechanic, just the wildlife, because I personally like seeing the Pokemon. I am a sucker for not random encounters. I hate random encounters. So being able to see the Pokemon in the wild, in the tall grass, I was a huge fan of that. I just really wish that it wasn't the Pokemon Go catching.
Oh, and also the control scheme.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
Yeah, if you
Wow.
dock it, you're forced to use a single Joy-Con, and to me, that is
Weren't you also
the
forced to do
worst thing
motion
ever.
control?
Yes.
Yeah, single Joy control or Joy-Con, motion control for catching. And I remember it was the weirdest thing because they wanted that like Pokemon Ball, the controller, to be the controller and everything. It was supposed to be that gimmick, but immediately it just limits what you're able to do.
Yes, it's one of those strange controllers that is admittedly pretty neat. I do find it kind of cool, but funny, yeah, for that game, portable mode, I would say, is the best way to play it. I would find myself, I remember, especially for catching Pokemon, I would have it docked and regrettably using single Joy-Con. And then when it came to catch something that I really want to catch, I would pick the Switch up from the dock so that I could use like non-motion controls.
Which is, again, I don't know how this huge oversight came along, but I mean, the whole point of Pokemon Go catching is touchscreen. It doesn't really work too well with motion control because the whole mechanic is literally from a smartphone game.
It's not even like very accurate either. I had, from the beginning to the end of the game, I could not consistently throw the Pokeball to catch something.
No, there were a lot of major flaws with it, but at the same time, when it came to the theme, the environment, stuff like that, I got excited. I remember just thinking, wow, this is what Pokemon is like. This is what I remember as a kid loving.
Dressing
And
up the Pokemon was also a definite perk. I would give up having 3 starter Pokemon for that alone.
and I think the coolest thing is we will have those beauty pageants back in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remakes. Brilliant Diamond, something like that. I'm extremely excited for all the little mini games that we'll be getting in the remake because that was the king of replayability.
If they go far with it, it could very well become a new Heart Gold Soul Silver. Those ones, they also added an entire park full of mini games for the remake. And I think that's one thing that does draw people.
Yeah, no, and that's the biggest thing that I just remember doing as a kid. All those times, it wasn't Pokemon battling for me, it was doing those little like souffle things with the berries and everything, putting that in, doing the rotating, blowing into the microphone, doing the beauty pageants, and doing terribly because I didn't understand the rules. And I mean, that's how I like Pokemon. I don't think that it just needs to be the battling. I really think that with Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, that's where it was at the height of getting more out there, actually setting a world that people can play that isn't just battling.
Honestly, as much as the original formula and battling and trading Pokemon, as much as that's key to what it is, some of my favorite moments, my favorite memories for Pokemon involve the exact opposite. All of those mini games in Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2, I remember so fondly. Pokemon Snap, that is a game that is all about the Pokemon themselves, not about battling or even collecting.
Which is crazy the more I think about it, because with Pokemon Snap, again, it is one of those games that is, unanimously agreed to be a fantastic Pokemon game. And it has zero things about battling. It's all about the Pokemon. That is it. There is nothing about fighting or anything like that. Those are definitely some of my favorite memories. I love doing the mini games in Pokemon Stadium. Which is why they still need to make that Pokemon Bank. That would be so great to have the Pokemon Bank that's like Pokemon Stadium.
Something that, unites it all and can actually hold every single Pokemon that you catch, not just some of them.
That's a dream right there. But honestly, I'm getting really excited the more I keep talking about it, that Pokemon Snap. For some reason, it really wasn't on my radar, but the more I think about it, man, I really like Pokemon Snap. I don't know. I'm just thinking about it. The way that you were able to like do the apple throws at Pokemon to get them mad or something, or potentially make them evolve. There are all sorts of different items that you could just use to basically interact with them, or find a legendary creature like a Ho-Oh in the sky, something like that. There are always so many little hidden angles to the games, all the different levels. They were small yet somehow packed with so much. Kind of like, no, never mind. I was gonna say Majora's Mask, but no. I gotta ask, with Japan, like, have you seen a lot of advertisements for that Pokemon Snap?
Not as many as I did for Monster Hunter, funny enough.
Really?
I haven't been over by the train stations or any of the major areas lately, but from what I have seen, yeah, I don't think it was quite as in your face as Monster Hunter was. I mean, one of the train stations, even, it had a Monster Hunter display outside a store that was just constantly blaring the music for everybody to hear. It was
Well,
great.
was it like
But I
the
was,
da 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 da
oh
da
yeah,
da
yeah.
da da? Yes, okay.
Yeah, that particular train station, I know it had Monster Hunter for sure for quite a while. And then when that released, I believe it had the Mario 3D World.
Oh,
That was the next one. I'm not sure if it has anything right now.
I was about to ask if it was the Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne stuff, but the more I think about it, that's already come out, the remaster.
Oh yeah, that came out months ago, so there's no fanfare there.
Yeah, you missed that. I think it came out November for you guys, but anyway, yeah, that's a big game that if you've seen on Twitter, Atlas has been nonstop trying to promote that, which I
Even Nintendo, which is a bit shocking for me considering how dark it is. But yeah,
well, that's the weirdest thing about the Shin Megami Tensei games. I I always felt like they would have been flip-flopped. Like Persona, I feel like is more of the Nintendo like quirky style that they would totally try to advertise, like murder mystery for Persona 4 and Phantom Thieves. But instead they got Shin Megami Tensei, which is just demon Pokemon.
it's as I've seen a lot of posts say that it is the actual demon collecting, game that parents feared Pokemon was.
I forgot about that crazy like shock of Pokemon, how people thought it was the Antichrist or something like that.
Yeah, Shin Megami, I think the whole point is to become the Antichrist or something like that.
Advertising Shin Megami Tensei 3. Yeah, I'm actually kind of excited. There are a lot of different games coming out, and that actually brings me into the final segment of this, which is basically, I don't even, oh my gosh, I can't even remember what I call it, but pretty much we talk about a game or series that's completely random, and I basically have a wheel that I choose, and I got a bunch of games that we've played together, because otherwise I wouldn't want something like What games have we not played together? Whatever. Like Halo 3. I didn't want something like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be much help there.
But we got the lucky end of the stick, and we got Mass Effect, the trilogy.
How timely.
I know. No, truly, the first time we did an episode, it was Doom Eternal, and it was around the same time when it came out. I
The
want to
wheel
say it
knows what's
was.
up.
Yeah, no, every single time. I think it was that very week that Doom Eternal was coming out. I was like, okay, great, cool. Um, and then immediately after that, it was Animal Crossing. I was like, so they came out together. So
Good for
yeah,
them.
the wheel is. I actually do believe someone is watching over that wheel and stopping it. Kind of like the dice roll in Mario Party. But Mass Effect, that game, the whole series is something that Gabe actually brought me into. Oh
It's
my
very
gosh.
near and dear to me.
And it's gotten very near and dear to me. I am planning on getting the legendary edition of Mass Effect, the remaster that is coming out in like 14 days.
You're just planning on getting it? You mean you haven't already pre-ordered?
I pre-ordered. I'm
Uh-huh.
getting the poster from GameStop. I really wanted to get the downloadable stuff, but I started thinking about it, I'm like, well, I want something to hang, up on my wall over in the apartment, and Mass Effect is something that I would love to have. So that game series is really cool, and I feel like you might be the best person to explain what it is, just because you hold it more near and dear, and I have been on record to nearly spoil some games by Max. He told me and caught me.
Okay, so essentially you want an overview of the trilogy without actually spoiling anything.
Honestly, just have like a little description of the first game. Let's go with that.
Oh, well, I was going to say, I think I can give a little bit more of the trilogy.
Yeah. Go with head.
Essentially, it is a science fiction video game series. You play as Commander Shepard, be it male or female. You design your character, and the biggest draw of the Mass Effect games for me is the fact that all three are a single cohesive story. Your decisions from one to the next carries over and can have rather large ramifications. It's kind of a third person shooter throughout all three, cover based. But I think for a lot of people, that's kind of not necessarily the main draw. The biggest draw is in the storytelling and the characters.
Yeah. Yeah. Most importantly, the dialogue and a lot of the choices you're able to make. I always found that really cool, especially with the Paragon and Renegade system. Uh that was a fun time when I played it and you were there, because Gabe, usually went with the Paragon, which is just the nice guy Shepherd, where when something, I don't know, bad happens, he's always there to help people out. Or if someone's acting difficult, Shepherd will try to de-escalate the situation as calmly as possible with a silver tongue, stuff like that. And I played the Renegade Shepherd, where if someone was being difficult and they really didn't care, I'd shoot them. Uh, or if there was, I remember there's one instance where there's someone in the news who's talking to me about like a huge situation that was happening, and they gave me a little quick time event that I could do with the Renegade. I took it, and immediately Shepard just punched the news reporter.
That's completely understandable though. That part is fine. It might even be canon. I don't know.
I'm hoping that they come out and just say, by the way, this one instance that's very obscure, that is canon.
Oh, it's not obscure. You could punch the same reporter throughout all 3 games. It's great.
I forgot about that. Oh my gosh, you're right. I think every time it just gets even crazier. Like you just do some terrible stuff more and more.
By the 3rd game, she's ready for it. She knows what's coming.
Oh my god, and that's the best part. Like, yeah, actually, the more I think about it, if she's already prepared immediately, that makes it canon. Oh my gosh. All right, that just made my day, just realizing that whole situation where I was just, it was humorous. It was great. That's canon.
I will admit though, I did I don't think I punched her really ever throughout the games. It's hard to be mean sometimes.
It made it really funny when you were mean because it comes completely out of left field in the game. Like you'll just be, doing a situation, then all of a sudden you just act like a total jerk to someone. They're like, what did I do? Or you shoot someone, they're like, why did you do that? And he's like, I don't know, I got tired of him. You're the most chaotic D&D character in that entire game. And I think that's like the best thing to do. Also, in the second game, there's no way that this could be spoiled or anything, but in the second game, if you get really, really mean, you get glowing eyes.
I have never had glowing eyes.
He was goody two shoes and looked like a human.
Listen, I see all of the videos of people, they're showing off their character and they've got glowing eyes, and I'm like, how are you that mean? I will say though,
you just see them and you go Sith.
For Shepard, I think it's simp. That's for those of you who don't know, that's another big part of the Mass Effect games. The love interests, which also depends on who you go for, but they may or may not carry over between the games. But throughout the 3 games, each time you can romance someone, and if you don't like the combat and you don't like the story, for some people that is what they go for. That is why they choose Mass Effect.
It's just a picture of, what was it, Morpheus and Matrix giving you pills, and it's either Sith or simp. That is it. That's the entire game.
I think for most people, it's both.
That's not how the movie works, Gabe. You can't do that.
You take both.
You can't do that, Gabe. No.
Or you take neither.
That would be like the craziest version, though. That would be so boring of a game. Just not doing anything, just sticking to the law and being like, that's it. That's my entire life.
That's how it should have ended. No thanks. Mom said don't do drugs. No means no.
I don't know. I'm just thinking about it. That would be a terrible, just like how it should have ended for Mass Effect, though. Just someone is just kind of like taking their shirt off or something, or like, no. Keep it on. That's it. Get out of my room. And that's how it ends. Credits roll.
You do you. I mean, come on. It's your Shepard.
Oh, that's true. It's an RPG, but honestly, it's a really, really great game. It's got a lot of great books, and phone. No, I think that it would make great like television shows, but it would never happen.
These days, you never know. They're making a Borderlands movie. I never thought that would happen.
Neither did I, and I didn't think Jack Black would be in it too. And Jamie Lee Curtis, for some weird reason, Jamie Lee Curtis is in it.
You know, I wholeheartedly approve of both of those people, so we'll see.
I do too. It's just how they got into the Borderlands movie beats me. That's all I'm saying. But I guess that's about as much as we have right now. Next week, I'm working on that indie developer, and I know I was saying that we do that this week, but to the 10 viewers, sorry. So I will see you next time, and thank you. See ya.
See ya.
Bye.